time. But the point of the journey is understanding how to persevere. I tell the story all the time, which is a fun one. I'll give you another one. I got drafted in 91 by the Los Angeles Dodgers. Obviously ended up going to instructional league that year, had an okay first year. But my point in the story is this, real simple. The following season, they drafted a kid named Michael Moore. He was coming out of UCLA. He was an incredibly gifted athlete. I mean, he was a wide receiver, played at UCLA. I believe he was an All-American. Could have done a lot of different things, but he was next year's me. They took two of us, one after the other. We were outfielders. Yeah. I was a high school guy. He was a college guy. So he was already a couple of years older than me. And of course, the minute I meet Michael, and he's a great guy, meet him, and, we kind of hit it off. And of course, I'm 18 years old. We're in instructional league. This is 365 days later following draft. So now 1992, we're in instructional league together again. And I'm like, man, how am I going to beat this dude to the big leagues? How am I going to make, how do I make myself Tommy's answer over Michael? I mean, that's kind of how it works. You just got to recognize it for what it is. And I remember telling myself, I'm like, all right, well, we're supposed to be here at 7:00 every day. And I see Michael, he gets here about 6:30 every day. I'm talking about the morning time. That's how instructional league works. Usually because it's so hot. So in Arizona, you get on the field pretty early and you get your work in and you go from there. I was like, all right, here's what I'm going to do. If he's getting here at 6:30, I got to be here at 6:15. That's how you have to kind of see the world. But it wasn't okay, well, I'm going to leave. I've got all these other choices. Oh, okay, well, you drafted another guy, another outfielder, and so that's it. My gig's up. I had to figure out ways to be more presentable. And and I remember getting to the end of instructional league, and Reggie Smith said to me, man, I'm real impressed. This was your second spring, your second instructional league. And he said, most guys who come here in their second instructional league, and Reggie Smith was our minor league coordinator at the time. He came up to me at the end of it. He said, I'm really impressed with you. This is your second year down here. And I noticed that you were the first guy in the clubhouse every day. See what I'm saying? It's all I did was devise a way to try to beat my competition. But by putting myself in that position and saying to myself, okay, I'm going to be the first guy there, it opened up eyes. It wasn't how I could hit a fastball. It was my drop step good enough. It wasn't all the stuff that we talk about on the field. It was simply putting myself in a better position for the people who were in authority to see that my level of effort, my level of dedication was going to be over the top. What were my motives? Well, to beat the dude next to me. That was my motive. Yeah. It wasn't to send this message to all these people, but that's actually how the message was received. And so that's kind of my point here. I mean, we have to find ways, kids, to go out there and say, we're going to be better than our circumstances, and we're going to find our way through it. It can't always just be okay, well, I don't like where I'm at, I'm going to leave. Because every time you choose to do that, you're just basically starting over at the next place anyway. You're re-identifying yourself with everybody. And as soon as something doesn't go your way, you're going to feel that exact same thing hit you again. I don't like what I'm feeling right now. Is it time for me to leave again?
Yeah, and that ties into the no risk, no reward. You took the risk. You're like, okay, I gotta risk something. I could show up at 7. I could show up at 6:45. I could be 15 minutes behind him. And then I just will bank on the field. I'll just completely separate myself in ability. But you took the risk. You self-motivated and did what you needed to do to become what you needed to do. And we can't lose that as a win. You want the opportunity to win. You don't want someone to put it, well, you know what? Degree of difficulty is too high. Don't go for it.
Yeah, well, that's an easy one for me. I mean, it's woven into our DNA. I'm a firm believer that's how God made us all. I mean, that's it. We want to win. We want to be great. We want to be better than I want to be better tomorrow than I was today. That's the mindset that most athletes, that professional athletes in particular, possess. And that's the thing. It's always believing you can be better than your best. And that's really what it comes down to. And, however you choose to view yourself in that moment, that there's always going to be something better. And maybe even you'll surprise yourself. You'll do things. And I did this a couple of times in my career, had a couple of games where you were like, wow, I didn't even know I was capable of doing that. And you'll surprise yourself. But to that point is self-motivation. And that's just it. You've got to push yourself. And I mean, that's just really what it comes down to. The key, you hear it from Michael Jordan to Patrick Mahomes, to Aaron Judge. I mean, the tireless work and the determination that goes into, world-class athletes. Let's not lie to ourselves here. These are guys who are tremendously gifted, but they didn't just roll out of bed, and they didn't just fall on the football field. They didn't just land on the baseball field and find this success. There was a lot, tireless hours, late night hitting, practice, it's 6 o'clock in the morning, all the little things that you never hear about because, people don't always want all those details. They just want the glory. They want the glory story. They want to talk about the World Series. They want to talk about, the Kansas City Chiefs winning a Super Bowl again. Can they be the first team to win 3 consecutive? All these different things that our minds go to. We love the finished product, but we also need to understand that there's a journey that goes into all of this. I think of my son, Tug. He's going through it right now. And, but by most people's standards, his journey through college baseball has been, on the visual. Oh, well, okay, that makes sense. His freshman year, he didn't get a lot of playing time, so it's like a step back. But he couldn't be in a better place now from going from Division I baseball to a tremendous opportunity with a tremendous program up at St. John's than he is right now, and he couldn't be happier. And so, I know without a shadow of a doubt, my son Tug is going to have tremendous success this year. Based on just his mindset alone. That's where he's at, and that's where God's got him. And so he's good to go. And so I'm like, wow, this is going to be great. I'm excited to see it. But again, it's all part of the journey. I mean, this is a kid who's got the ability. He's got the skill set. He can do a lot of different things. And I know he's going to play baseball for a long time. But my point is that when I watch him, most people on the outside would say, what's the narrative right now? Well, okay, well, he's taking a step back. No, he's actually